Welcome back to Cooking with Joe, colon, a year in review, colon, the bitch is back, colon, back to the format that I've not actually shared with you. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cooking generally average food while I discuss the things that, that bother me, that interest me. It's mainly the things that bother me. A lot of things bother me, but we're going to have fun. Some new things. We're in a new space. That's changed. The kitchen is in fact not the same one I was previously in. There are people here doing this with me now. Henry, Ollie and Henry. The boys are back in town. What I thought we could do to celebrate our triumphant return is a bit of a feast. We're gonna start with baby with back ribs. That's all right. We've got a side of QUAIL eggs, like sequel. That one's less good. And because it's a year in review, I thought we could do your ear of corn. That one's definitely been the worst received. I've started drinking, by the way, but you don't know what time it is. It is an appropriate time to drink wine. Yeah, let's just dig into it all. Let's get cooking. First up, the ingredients. The ingredients. One of those we're doing. Started sexy and then just got really sad. The ingredients. So there's a lot to unpack here. I thought we could break everything down into, each dish. So for starters, we're going to need 2.5 kilos of baby back pork ribs, or really any animal that you choose to slaughter. Maybe another man. Salt and some pepper. Moving on then to the sauce. A small onion, diced. That's apparently 1/4 cup, such a needlessly arbitrary measurement. A cup. You see the dilemma we're posed with. 1/2 cup of ketchup. A goddamn 1/2 cup of ketchup. Is that a spurt? Is that 2 spurts? Nobody knows. I mean, someone probably knows. Cups as a form of measurement were apparently invented by a Fanny farmer in the 1890s. And it was actually used to make a more universal and accessible measurement so that the every person could cook without any formal training. Actually quite a good cause. So that's my bad, Fanny. I owe you one. She's probably dead. Fanny farmer fact section. I don't know any facts about Fanny. A tablespoon of hot chili sauce. Your choice of which? I've gone for sriracha, but I don't know much about sauces, so take your pick. Ooh. Oh, there. I actually couldn't see this for a moment, but 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Salt and pepper. Take as much as you like or as little as you'd want. Just don't take the piss with it. For the QUAIL eggs, that's straightforward enough. The quail eggs, and I don't know, bit of pepper afterwards. It's frying eggs. I'm not going to teach you how to fry an egg. If you can't do that aspect of what we're producing today, then I'd recommend just jumping back a couple stages. For the ear of corn, you need your cobs of corn on the cobs, ears of corn, some salt, maybe a bit of and some butter. If your cholesterol's bad, I wouldn't add the salt or the butter. But I mean, I wouldn't do any of this if your cholesterol's bad. Maybe have just the corn on its own. Plain corn for those with bad cholesterol. Fun things for the rest of us. So first things first, we're gonna start with these ribs because they take a fucking age. Step 1, the meat of the piece. Right, first things first, let's pop the oven on because, you need to preheat your oven. 135 degrees Celsius. Well, gas mark 1. I don't care for Fahrenheit, so I'm not going to provide you with the, I can't see what these buttons mean. With your own kitchen, you might know it better. But right now, we're just gonna sort of peel back the membrane of life and dig into these ribs by peeling back their membrane. Okay. So I don't know how to do this. I think the idea is that you just sort of penetrate in. Oh, look at that. There we go. You can ask your butcher to remove the membrane for you. In hindsight, that was 100% what I should have done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of slice it like that. and then you start sort of picking at it. Oh, snap! That's actually coming back. I don't know, we're going to be here a while. But we've got a lot to talk about. I mean, this entire year has been an absolutely... Oh my God, this was such a stupid idea. Look at all this membrane. I thought it would be at least like slightly easier. But like, this is ridiculous. The guy in the video said that you don't necessarily have to take off the membrane. So, but he also said use like a blunt end of like a spoon or a knife. So we'll try that. There's no salmonella on this cutlery. This is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm doing. And then a hard cut there, I think, while I just jump back to what we're actually talking about. Okay, so this is actually really difficult. It's proved a challenge. There's a lot that's been challenging over these last 12 months. But I mean, we could talk about what's new. Starters, I quit my job. That's pretty impressive. I felt it wasn't really for me. I mean, the photography's fine. Before I started working at the studio, my intention was to have children. We're tearing it off. We're just really... Oh, I thought we had it then. Look at that. That's membrane. You don't want that on your ribs. I don't want it on your ribs. Meanwhile, as the world reels from COVID fallout and environmental collapse, the billionaire space race began in full earnest. Spoiler alert, the winner wasn't us. We've got Brexit. We've got, obviously, COVID. Don't know if you heard about it. That's still going on. I just dropped some membrane on the floor. This is stuck to me. If anyone out there is a butcher, you definitely are going to be able to comment on whether or not I'm doing a good job at this.
Yeah, you butchered it, mate.
Ooh, I've got 3 more of these things to peel off. That one would do. Pretty sure that is not the full membrane of a rack of ribs. I can tell you now that that's not how it's meant to look. That'll do. Continuing membrane. Continue. Clap. Continue. So the butcher said to me when he sold me these, I said I didn't want the membrane left on because I'm going to demonstrate how you remove the membrane. He asked if I'd ever done it before. I told him no. He laughed and said good luck. I'm starting to think that was less of a glib comment and more just like an expert relaying to me that there is some degree of skill involved in this. But the main benefit of removing the membrane is that the meat falls off the bones really easily. Who says I like that? I can like things the way I like things. I prefer when meat comes off the bone tenderly, but I also like a chewy mess. Speaking of chewy messes, we're going to be digging into who's been a prick this year. Quite a few people have, actually. But we've peeled back the membrane of life. We're just going to dig in. We're going to season these with salt and pepper. And we're just going to whack them into our preheated oven. Because time's ticking, and evidently I don't know how to remove the membrane. We're going to pop these into the pan. I wonder if I can just peel that chunk off. Oh, okay. No, that was easier than the other pieces. Oh, I just wish. If I put them up right this way, you'll never know. Always clean up after yourself. There was a mug in the sink there, so that's what the clang was. Everything's in the way. Slippery when wet. So, salt and pepper. That's way too much salt on that one. So a little bit of peps. Oh. I think I broke the pepper grinder. So there won't be any pepper in anything else moving forwards. What have I done? Maybe I could punch the pepper apart. This isn't going well. I've switched pepper. That's too much pepper on that, that's fine. A whole rack of ribs at like 2 kilos. You're probably going to cook that for 4 hours, but because we've broken these up into smaller pieces, we're going to take a punt at 2 hours first. We're going to do both sides as well. Just a reminder, again, you can remove the membrane, and that's actually the desired result. But if you ever meet my butcher, lovely chap, don't tell him that this happened. He's not going to watch this video. I make it sound like we're quite close. We're not. I've bought ribs off of him twice. I bought lamb off of him twice. And to be honest, I think he's just being friendly to help his sales. Like, that's fine if that's the type of person that you are. But just so you know, you're dead to me. Does this not look like I've been sold one that's been used? You're just going to cover it tightly with foil. I acted like a guillotine there. How precise. Oh, there's another pan in here, is that alright? That's alright. It doesn't fit! It's fine, it'll go in this way. We've got another pan. It's like a Tetris in a way, isn't it? It's me! Tetris! Tetris the plumber! That's the Tetris catchphrase, isn't it? Let's put it in. Fine. I don't think I've turned the oven on. This one fits. This one fits. This one fits. This one fits. You're going to put the foil into your pan like this. This one fits. Seamless. Like a glove. Right, moving on.
Step 2. Cobbling together a sauce.
First things first, you pour yourself another glass of wine. I'm not an alcoholic, but when I do drink, I have a hard time stopping. There's something really pleasant about a glass of red wine in front of the fire, you know, in your underwear at 3 a.m, weeping over all your lost years. But we're going to put together a sauce. First things first is the onion. And as we've established, we need 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup. I actually forgot which. You know, at the end of the day, I'm going to put the whole onion in. Christ. I'm a very anxious guy, and I think I have every reason to be anxious. You know, we're awfully lucky to be getting these ingredients, and I feel like I've said that before. Well, there is a HGV driver shortage, which means the bins here haven't been collected in a while, so I'm actually going to take home all my food waste so that I can chuck it in my bin. And I have a plastic bag. I'll just put these in my pocket. Okay, so yeah, remember when you're cutting an onion, north to south. So what that means is, I don't know. I've always imagined north to south as essentially up to down. We're getting caught up on the wrong things here though. Hard cut. Oh God, onions really do get me. The original plan was to be talking about all the hoo-ha about a pingdemic. But, you know, in actuality, it's very much a Brexit one. And it's very much a supply and demand issue. So now we're looking at a shortage of over 100,000 HGV drivers, fuck all petrol. And we're talking 100,000 shortage from a pre-pandemic figure of 600,000. So that's a huge, huge chunk of your multinational workforce gone. These are quite nicely chopped, but we do need to be finer with it. Finesse is the key here. If you could go back down, sorry. Apologies in advance, we're doing pork ribs. This morning I read an article about how hundreds of thousands of pigs may be slaughtered and eviscerated needlessly. So there's a lot of guilt going on up here. But I'm not necessarily to blame for all the country's woes. Will be delicious though. I'm more of a chunky onion guy, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that comes down to my predisposition for laziness. But voila. Onions. Chopped. Fucking hell. Where'd you keep tea towels? Oh, this is a nice tea towel. I shall dab my eye with it. I'm just going to put these onions in a bowl, by the way. What's the easiest way to decant onions into a bowl? Please leave a comment about the easiest ways to decant an onion into a bowl once it's been chopped. I'm doing the social media stuff. I think this is what you're meant to be doing. Watch this. Jumping. I'm going to move on to the monumental balls up That was the track and trace system. It took us almost 6 months, by the way, from the start of the first lockdown to get our app out there. On top of that, you've got people not being told they need to self-isolate. You've got people unable to input their results. But a huge missed opportunity to iron out the kinks before we came stumbling back out into the world. We needed, I think it was like 112 grams? That is definitely more than a couple spurts, isn't it? I put too much ketchup in this time. My name's Joe, and we're going to measure it all up to the gram, because we got plenty of times fucking nope. One thing we could actually start doing while we're measuring these out is frying off the onions, because that takes like 8 minutes. So frying pans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right, so yeah, we're going to fry off the onions actually while we're here, because they take time. How do I work your hob? I think it's hard to timestamp these now. Take one. And there are like mega shortages in supermarkets. We've got delicious things like cumin right now, but a man can't sustain himself on cumin alone. 1 tablespoon of cumin, and you cook that for about 30 seconds. I'm not going to use a timer for that. I don't think you really need a timer. Who needs a timer for 30 seconds? When my parents got their vows renewed by an Elvis impersonator, he pulled me aside during the little dance section, and he told me that he's never met anyone with worse rhythm. So maybe I do need a timer. There is a chance I've turned your hob off again. I turned your hob off again. At this stage, you can add all the other ingredients. That's our ketchup, that's our brown sugar, that's the salt, the pepper, maybe chuck in some wine. Yeah, we're gonna get that in there. Oh, that's making a satisfying noise. I know I said noise weirdly there. Why don't we put in the hot sauce? I think that was 1 tablespoon. Who knows? I didn't write that bit down. I've lost that page of the script. I think I said 1. Did I say 1? I don't know. It was 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And really all we're doing is just like, we're just fusing together all these different elements so that we can get our lovely little sauce. The apple cider's what's going to give this the liquid element. Single tablespoon or 2. Holy shit. Okay, so it turns out we put too much apple cider vinegar in there, and it's proven a little difficult to breathe. Okay, we're going to add some salt into the mix. This is oppressive. Bit of pepper as well. I forgot we broke our ground there. That's too much. It wasn't. I'm a professional cook. For the quantity of ribs we've got, this isn't enough. I've had too much to drink. It's fucked! So although we're giving it up to Brexit and the shortage of all things remotely pleasant, we have a sauce that's hopefully also remotely pleasant. That doesn't look pleasant. I had visions of this being one of the more upbeat episodes, you know. Wait until you get onto environmental collapse in like 3 or 4 weeks. Everywhere is either flooded or on fire. Or in the case of Turkey, flooded and then on fire. Or in the case of the oceans, on fire. There's an awful lot of water on fire. Oh, and everyone's dead. Okay, that was a terrible idea. Bilbo dead, Boba Fett, Darth Vader, both dead. All these icons from my childhood, dead. And, you know, in the worst news yet, Piers Morgan, still alive. Like I say, this was going to be one of the more upbeat, positive episodes. So in the spirit of that, racist bigot Rush Limbaugh and geriatric ghoul Prince Philip are both dead. So score 1 for the good guys. I don't think we can say that.
Step 3. A husk of a man.
We're a bottle down. But don't worry, we have a second. We're going to husk these beauties. And at the top of the episode, I said we'd be talking about who's been a prick. So I thought I could just get some of it out of my system by husking Corn, Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Priti Patel, Michael Gove, Hancock's gone now, Jacob Rees-Mogg, all those fucking cretins from the Tory party have really done a number on this country over the last decade plus, but particularly in this pandemic, they've been absolutely abhorrent. I mean, they've prioritised their own selfish interests over the needs of the public. Dodgy contracts for PPE going to their friends and family. 10 plus years of austerity gutting vital social services. And in all of this, they've made a fucking mint. A cabal of pricks. Who else we got? The Queen. The Queen has, on occasion, resorted to something called Crown's Consent. It's an arcane law dating back to the 1700s. She had a major Scottish renewable energy bill amended to exclude herself from any restrictions or adjustments needed to make herself more green. I know what you're thinking. It's fine. She's the Queen. She can do what she wants. Number one, no, she fucking can't. And, you know, let's face it, the Queen isn't exactly vibes in a sustainable micro cabin, you know. That's not even addressing the fact that she's also pumped millions into defending her rapist, pedo son, Prince Andrew. So, yeah. Allegedly, can you call the Queen a prick? The Queen's a prick! Then there's the aforementioned trio of bastard billionaires, Bezos, Branson, Musk. The former two have jetted themselves into suborbit lately. The thing is, I say they've jetted themselves. The people that work for them have jetted Branson and Bezos into suborbit. Musk probably isn't far behind, the fucking son of a bitch. Amazon workers still pissing in bottles, environmental collapses and coups. Business as normal. So yeah, prick feels like a bit of an understatement. Sending for you, Bezos, Musk, Branson. Our corn's relatively there, by the way. We're going to whack it in the oven. Grill mode, though. Oh, the ribs are done. We'll take those out for the time being. Oh, they're smelling relatively pleasant. Let's have a gander at them. They look pretty burnt. Probably should have removed the membrane, shouldn't I? I don't know, put them back in for a bit, flip them, I don't know.
To unburn them?
Unburn them, yeah. I think, actually, if you look at that from that perspective, they look way more pleasant, don't they? I actually am not too bothered by these. I think they don't look too bad. But they're done cooking, he says relatively confidently. It's pork, what's the worst that could happen? Disclaimer, quite a lot. Notably, food poisoning. Is it notable that you might die from eating raw pork? I guess it is. So we're going to put the corn on here. The idea is that you grill these for about 10 minutes, turning often and with as much enthusiasm as you can muster. If you turn them with zero enthusiasm, they actually turn out quite bad. So we just whack them in. At the end, you know, you might do your salt, you might do your butter. Wine. How's it going? I'm doing a cooking show, aren't I? Yeah, I'm placid, Kaz. You know.
Step 4. Cracking with Joe.
So with these sea quail eggs, I thought, you know, in the interest of adding some sort of levity, because I've been a bit of a downer today, what we could do is we could crack an egg for every bit of positive or cracking news. Move out of the way, sauce. I've been told that quail eggs are actually quite difficult to crack, so we're just going to do a tester one, see how we get on. Okay, yeah, quite difficult to crack. I've got 24 of these, so challenge accepted. Straight out the gate, there was a major uptick in athletes removing themselves to prioritise their mental health. That's cracking. Top of that, Piers Morgan was inexplicably fuming about that. And that guy's a massive dick, so fuck that guy. That's cracking over my leg. But we've got an intact yolk. There's been a slight shift in bargaining power for the proletariat across several sectors. That's cracking. I don't know if any of you guys have ever cracked a quail egg before, but it's like really hard. It's just... The G7 have agreed a shift in how we approach corporate tax. That's cracking. I mean, these are just, you know, these are international news stories. On a more personal level, like I said, I've moved into a new house. It's not this space, it's a delightful space, and that would be lovely cracking too. The place I've moved into, also cracking. And it's just, yeah, it's a delightful place to live. So yeah, that's cracking. That's cracking, man. My friends, Jess and Ed, they put me up last winter. They got married recently as well. That was also cracking. I said to Jess I would give the two of them a shout out. So yeah, this is your shout out. That's cracking. That's cracking. And that's your wedding gift, by the way. Sorry. This is ridiculous. Look at that. Look at that. I've cracked almost a dozen so far, and that's what we got to show for it. Yeah, that's cracking. Positive news. I don't know what else you want from me. That's probably too many eggs for what we're trying to achieve. We'll just set those aside. Quail eggs are very much a rich person's food. I've just quit my job. Just put it on my credit card. That's a future Joe's problem. If you want to support a future Joe in his endeavours, you can support me at
Step 5. Plating up.
So, everything's pretty much done. Our quail eggs are as good as they're gonna get. Your ear of corn is actually almost done. We want to pop our sauce onto our ribs, and we're just gonna grill that on so it caramelizes quite nicely. There is a hot chance that I've not made enough sauce. That's fine. Don't worry about that. This is what happens when your sauce is overcooked. Like at the end of the day, you know, we've drunk a lot, we're a little out of practice. The main thing is actually, I'd say that looks really, really nice. I think the corn's gonna be ready to come out as well. Can you smell that delicious corn? You can, but you can look at it. Grilled. And we'll just put the ribs in for that no, they've got that pan again, that doesn't fit. No, thank you. No? No. On the bottom. Yeah. We're in. These aren't as hot as I was anticipating. That's fine. Oh my god. That's the weirdest butter I've ever seen. That's fine though. That's fine. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that melt. That's nothing to do with the temperature of the room. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, lovely buttery goodness. We'll get a bit of salt with that. Teeny weeny bit. Just a teeny bit. Brush it into the sink. Let's call these, instead of fried eggs, scrambled eggs. I don't know if you've ever cooked a quail egg, but that's how you'd like it. This is how you wouldn't like it. It is remarkably difficult to cook quail eggs. It's frying eggs. I'm not going to teach you how to fry an egg. I think I'm too strong, too muscular. What we're going to do actually is this is what they do in restaurants. We're going to put the nicer egg on top, so at least we've got that going for us. Oh, look at that mischief. We're just going to take one of these. I'm thinking this rack right here. And there we have it. Your ear of corn, some sea quail eggs, and baby, we're back ribs. I'd give myself 5 out of 10. That's not great. I'm gonna have some wine. I'm gonna grab a chair here, and we're gonna tuck in to what is no doubt a relatively remotely pleasant experience. As I licked my fingers, I thought to myself, that's incredibly salty. Let's go hands on. I'm actually genuinely surprised that I cooked that sufficiently. Mother Zeus, that's hot. But these are fucking great. Like, these are just crumbling straight off the bone. I'm really happy with what we've achieved today. I think we should all be really proud, unless we didn't cook anything. In which case, I wouldn't be proud of just watching a YouTube video. I don't know, the best way of signing this off. I tell you what, this is just a start, right? I promise I'm not going to go AWOL like last time where I disappeared for over a year. We've got so many videos lined up. So I keep an eye on what we're doing. I definitely avoid this recipe. But all in all, I've had a nice time. And I hope you guys have had a nice time as well. I'm just going to tuck into this now. And I hope you all have a really nice evening. Thank you. And, well, if it's a morning, have a nice morning.